drop in. This is called the shaft, this is a tube, and this is the column. This column is 6-inch column. The casing may be a 12-inch in this case. The water will flow in through the perforations into the well, and on the outside of this well. This piece obviously is not usable for the whole hole in it, but it will be watertight. When you install a power unit, pumping in is this. You have to have some sort of power, obviously, to run this. That is an electric motor there on the far side, which is, I'm sorry? This one right there. Right. That's an electric motor, which are very common on the east side of the valley because of the availability of electricity either through PG&E or Southern California Edison. Years ago, the power companies would bring in electricity to you at no charge. They'd bring in the wire, the transformers, the poles, and everything if you contractually agreed to use their services for a certain number of years. They no longer do that. Now they charge exorbitant fees to do it. So it discourages people from putting in electrical power if they don't have it already. If you don't have electricity available, you'll have to use what's called a ground-powered unit, which will be an internal combustion engine sitting next to the pump, which will be powered by natural gas, propane, or diesel. In that case, instead of having an electric motor on top, you'll have a right-angled gear head, and you'll have a gear like a drive line out of your car from the engine attached to the pumping unit, and that transmit the power from this way to this way down the hole. The only moving part is this shaft inside the well. It's attached. This is the upper portion of the shaft that will come into the housing here. That shaft turns is centered inside the tubing by means of bearings, and likewise both inside the column by means of bearings and spacers. It will come down to this area called the bowls. There's a diagram there, you can take a look if you like. These have fluted veins inside of them. The water has flowed at this point inside the casing down to the bottom and is pulled up through this strainer, which keeps small debris and pebbles out of the mechanism, through the bowls, and is pushed upwards. So it's not actually sucked up, it's just pushed from here up.
So how deep will this rise it?
That's a good question. That depends upon the water level. It's important that this always be inside the water. It has to be below the water level. When you start a pump, you're going to have a drawdown. It takes a few minutes for it to stabilize. In this area, that may be 6 to 10 feet, not a lot. But you have to allow for the drawdown. You also have to allow for the fluctuation of the water table. This year, Chris and I were talking earlier, and we expect by the middle of the late end of summer, the water table around here will be 25 feet low. A couple of years ago, it was down to 60 or 65. So you have to set this so it's always in the water. But you don't want to set it any deeper than you have to, because it costs money to raise that water. Not much in an hour, but over a period of summertime, it can cost a lot of money